say that though my involvement has been very small in the last minutes of recent work on Albany Hill, but the legacy of Albany Hill is even in the files at the Trust for Public Land from years back, where there are letters from various Hill residents asking for help to think about the hill, to maybe expanding it, is there a way that we can preserve another patch of it? And these letters expand back many, many years. And a few years ago, there was a more concerted number of letters that said, is there a way that we can find some real funding to help preserve the open space on the hill? And these letters, Carole Fitzgerald and a number of people, including Thelma, wrote. And we started working of trying to identify some sources. And Carole did a magnificent job when Cal Pa came along, 180 last year, having identified $5 million, had that bond passed for Albany Hill. But unfortunately, the bond passed very well within Albany and within our arena here, but statewide the bill didn't pass, and so those monies weren't available. But I'm here today to give something to the Friends of Albany Hill. I would like to say that there are many people that make up Albany Hill, but if you'd forgive me and just let Carole sort of embody the legacy and the spirit of Albany Hill, I thought she'd be an appropriate person to hold this. And this is a certificate from the Trust of Public Land saying, in recognition of her commitment to preserve, protect, and enhance open space on Albany Hill, and her tireless efforts to foster the permanent protection of additional open space for the citizens of the City of Albany. So Carole, this is for you. And also, there are just a number of people on the City of Council that have been working on the behalf of the citizens who do want the preserved, protected, and we would like to present this certificate to the City of Albany, Mayor Mike Brodsky, the City Council, and its staff. Many people who've worked for months just trying to put together sort of the inch-by-inch movement to help expand this really amazing hill that's part of really the native landscape here in Albany. And this is cited in recognition of their vision and foresight to conserve one of few remaining pieces of Albany open space, and to acknowledge their efforts to preserve, protect, and enhance open space on Albany Hill for the citizens of the City of Albany. So, Mike.
Thank you very much, Jane.
This is just one last little thing. This also is for Carole. The butterflies. I looked for monarchs, but I could only find swallowtails. Yeah. But this is a little book which I bet many of you here have read, but it's called The Man Who Planted Trees. And it's just this wonderful French tale of one man who just tree by tree planted an incredibly barren landscape in, I believe, in Provence region of France that had been cut down. And it's just over the years, this tree by tree, seed by seed, sort of evolution that brought, moisture and then other shrubbery, and then soon the whole original ecosystem that one time existed was just slowly restored. And the one thing I wanted to say is that the Trust for Public Land's mission is to kind of help people stay in connection with their natural treasures. So we're a land conserving organization that works with passionate citizens that want to save a piece of the treasures that they know their community would like to retain. And I truly believe it's a real inch by inch kind of measure and a tree by tree effort. And I mean, I also think that one person can do it, and when one person does it and other people do it, it all sort of happens together. This book is just kind of a reminder of that to me, for sure.
Okay, another person that has become a familiar contribution to the celebrations that we do is John Steere, who is the founder of the Eastbay Citizens for Creek Restoration. And since we're right here by Cerrito Creek, which would be great if it gets restored, I invited him to come and he has some poetry.
Jane was referring a little bit ago to the man who planted trees and how he worked hard to revisit and renew little gems within the ecosystem that he lived in France. And the gem of our ecosystem in the Bay are its creeks, insofar as they're the lifeblood to the Bay. And so often they've been degraded and neglected and concreted in. And yet, even so, if you think about all the places that you enjoy as open space around here, including this very place, what runs through it is a creek, and that is the essence or the heart of what makes that place beautiful, because that's where the water is and that's where the wildlife congregates. And the Eastbay Citizens Creek Restoration has been involved for the last 6 or 7 years working with other organizations to celebrate those values, the many values of creeks, both biological and social and even the evocative elements. And there's a couple of poems that I will recite really speak to those evocative qualities. I would imagine most of you, if not all of you, have at one time or another sat beside a river or a creek and just sort of either meditated on it or just enjoyed being beside it, and it may have inspired you in some way or another. And I think there is that quality of connection or resonance that they can have that power upon our beings, our psyches. And I think in order for us to really feel fully alive where we live, to get in touch with the life-bringing essence of water as it flows through in our midst, that is a source, I think, of continual renewal. So I think that's really behind perhaps these two poems, and I'd just like to share them with you on the occasion of this dedication. Now, this one actually wrote at the base of a fountain in San Francisco, the Levi Strauss Plaza, and it kind of contrasts two kinds of experiences of water. Natural and the unnatural, I suppose, or the natural and concrete editions. It's called In the Current. At the moss crease lip of the falls, water ouzels dip and dance, wings that wheel through invisible currents, now flutter and fluid, casting a shimmer and a shower in every direction. A spectrum of tints and mist. These birds sing of the oldest cycle. Life spreads water, water spreads life. For we are all vessels of agua vita. Sitting by the edge of the secret stream, cup your senses. It will inform you. Time and space are themselves fluid, always shifting forms. No thing is matter. Life draws not from stone. You are composed of fluid, simply an semblance of substance. Following the course of creeks and their sinuous tracing to the great waters on which the lands are suspended, follow their riffling amid the sustained chorus of trees and herbs that gird them. All that is alive is rooted in waters flowing, seen and unseen. By the gray edge of the fountain, gimlet-eyed starlings cavort in the spray, paying homage to the source. Even here, surrounded by steel and concrete husks, broken off from the ancient memory of life's weaving and water, many gather round this oasis to doze, to eat, to talk, to remember. Elsewhere in the city, the fluid thread has disappeared. No sign or echo anywhere among the opaque mirrors of buildings. How did we think that we could live without water? Bury it in concrete tubes, supplant it with walls and roads, granite and cement, and be sustained by the illusion of water, the illusion of matter alone. The magician tricks himself. The streets are filled with stiff-bodied beings, walking, disensouled, with eyes that stare lusterless. They have turned to stone inside, hypnotized by the medusas of their own making, which stand all around them, grim monuments to being uprooted from the current. Sit long enough inside the sound of falling water. It will call you home. This medium that meanders between spirit and substance. Breathe in the mist and bathe in abandon, like a bird fluttering in the spray. This last short poem is just a rallying cry for that very effort that I know the mayors of Albany and El Cerrito and Richmond and Berkeley and interested citizens will be engaging in creating greenways and in looking at how to plan this watershed more collaboratively and more in keeping with the nature that is here and can be restored. And this one's called Remembering the Stream. The land's life flows in veins, rippling in recesses and clothed in green. This is the water, within and without, moving, the channel of feeling, the love offered by the union of sky and sea, and given form through the earth. Connecting the hills to the bay, these streams, imprisoned in concrete, still urge to be heard. The water buried, the emotion denied, calls out still. Now is the hour to reclaim the waters in our lives, the ribbons of longing for the roots, the source of all life that nourishes us unseen. Make it visible once more.
Art Schroeder is here from the El Cerrito Historical Society, and Norma Jellison, who is from the El Cerrito City Council.
On the occasion of the 75th birthday of El Cerrito as an incorporated town, there was a debate between members of the Albany City Council and the El Cerrito City Council. And I'm sorry to say, as an El Cerrito resident, that the Albany City Council, in my opinion, won the debate. And I think they won it because when El Cerrito demanded to have Albany give the hill back to El Cerrito, the Albany Council pointed out an estimated value which, with interest, amounted to several $1 billion. And the opposition dried up at that point.
Carole?
Yes.
Ruth's been a member of the Parks and Recreation Commission for nearly 30 years.
Yes, with Meniketti.
I commend you greatly for everything you've done with the private citizens who really get things done.
Well, thank you for coming.